Assembly urges Union government to completely withdraw the WAQF Amendment Bill. Unquote. Madam Chairperson, is it not a paradoxical question that the political will, sovereign will of the entire country seems to be or deemed to be reflected in this House, whereas Tamil Nadu political will reflected in the State Assembly is something not only inconsistent, completely diametrically opposite. This difference and diametrically opposite component is not going to be accepted by you, then there will be a question for integrity of this country. Please note it. Madam Chairperson, I want to take back the House in the year 1949, soon after the independence, when the Constitution was made, the Constitution making process was on. Of course, you will be happy that you wrote your own favorite leader, the Iron Man of this country, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, favorite leader of the government. They are celebrating with false claims. However, I want to put forth my views from the mouth of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was the chairman of the advisory committees for minorities in the Constitutional Assembly. He was the chairman. Who are all the members? President of India and President of the Assembly, Rajendra Prasad, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, later Prime Minister, Dr. Ambedkar, and Dr. Munshi. Headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the committee took a decision and a report was placed before the Constitutional Assembly. The Constitutional Assembly report was placed on 25th May 1949. He himself says, I quote, a committee of 5 persons was appointed by the advisory committee in which our revered president was also one of the members. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, myself, Mr. Munshi and Dr. Ambedkar were the members of the committee. The committee met and made its report in February. Unquote. Finally, he placed the report and moved in the Constituent Assembly. What was his prayer when he was moving? I quote again. If they, that is Muslims, I quote, if they really have come honestly to the conclusion that in the changed conditions of this country, it is in the interest of the all to lay down real and genuine foundation of a secular state, then nothing is better for minorities than to trust the good sense and sense of the fairness of the majority and to place confidence in them. First part, unquote. Second part is very important. Again I quote, so also it is for us to happen to be the majority to think about what the minorities feel and how they are treated. But in the long run, it would be in the interest of the all forget that there is anything like majority and minority, this country and that India, there is only one community. With these considerations, sir, I beg to move that report may be adopted, unquote. This is the voice of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the Constitution Assembly. You are celebrating See, now the problem is we want to harvest the legacy of the Sardar Patel. Those who wanted the legacy of the Sardar Patel in the constitutional terms are opposing the bill. Those who wanted to erect the statue of Vallabhbhai Patel and erase the concept of Vallabhbhai Patel wanted to support this bill. That is the problem. Sir, if I am permitted to go to the genesis of the work, which was originally enacted in the year 1954. After that, the Act was amended frequently 59, 64, 69. Thereafter, comprehensive amendments were made in the year 1984. My sincere question to the Treasury benches and the Honorable Minister. Right from the 1984, whenever amendments were brought in this House, there was a basis. There were deliberations. There were consultations with stakeholders, which was appointed by either by the Parliament or by the President of India or the Prime Minister of India. 1984 amendment came into existence on the basis of the report submitted by the WAQF Inquiry Committee appointed by the Government of India in the 1970 by the Parliament. So a committee was formed in there 1970. The report was placed. After 14 years, the amendments were made. I surprised when I went through the document in 1970. What a beautiful and sensible deliberation took place in 1970. In spite of that, the protests were made against 1970. Late, it came in 1984. Madam, if at all so many recommendations were made in 1970, in 1984, the Parliament was enabled to take two amendments. One is for limitation, which was extended to 30 years for the work properties. The second one is the act applicable to the WAQF properties. No other provisions were implemented. Not because of the protests of the Hindus, the protests by the Muslims themselves. It was fairly accepted by the Nehru and government. After that, 1995 Act came into existence. I am an antibiotic, so that I have to take. See, what I wanted to impress upon the minister and the House, whenever the amendment came into existence, on the reasonable basis, on the institutional outcome, the amendments were done. Take 1995. 1995, how the Act came into existence? Sorry. In 1985, the reason, statement objection reason, para 2, I quote, comprehensive amendments of the WAQF Act were made in the year 1984, which were based largely on the recommendation of the WAQF Inquiry Committee set up in December 70 to inquire the administration of WAQF all levels and response to a demand made by the Parliament members during the discussion of WAQF bill. Only two amendments. Thereafter, the demand was made by the Muslim community to have a relook, and accordingly, it was placed in the Parliament, and 1995 Act came into existence. Now again I come to 2013. 2013, on what basis? Para 2 of the reasons and objectives. The Prime Minister's High-Level Committee for Preparation of Report on Social, Economic and Educational Status of Muslim Community, in its report submitted to the Prime Minister on 17 November 2006, which is known as Sardar Committee report. So what I wanted to say, whether it is 84, whether it is 95, whether it is 2013, there were bases, there were consultations, there were consensus arrived. Then the white paper was filed to the Parliament. Then they brought the amendments. Now tell me, please tell me, on what basis this bill is being brought in house?
உடனுக்குடன் செய்திகளை தெரிந்து கொள்ள சன் நியூஸ் பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க.